In this unit, you have been learning to make a claim and support it with evidence. An important skill that goes with this is finding and evaluating sources of information. In this lesson, we're going to learn about finding information using databases. Our learning target for this lesson is that we will understand that relevant information from credible sources will provide evidence for our claim. We will demonstrate our understanding by using research databases to find accurate information that relates to our topic. So I have two underlined words there that are important to know. One of them is credible. Credible sources are the sources that we can trust, that we can believe. And then relevant information is information that relates to our topic or talks about our topic. So those are two things we're going to keep in mind as we look for information. We want it to be relevant about our topic, and we want it to be credible. We want it to be trustworthy and accurate. Since we're using databases in this lesson to find information, I want to first talk about a little bit about what a database is. So a database is a collection of information that's organized so it can be easily searched in different ways. It's not really great to have a lot of information if you need to sort through it piece by piece. So databases use systems to make that easier. For example, when you use the Contacts app on your phone, that is a database. The information there can be searched by someone's first name, someone's last name, or you can have different groups set up that you can search as well. So the databases we'll use today are online research databases, and that's going to help us find information for our project. So why should we use research databases? What's important about these? We know that we need to find good, credible information to find evidence that supports our claim. And again, credible means we can trust the information or source to be correct. A lot of times when we're looking for information, we go to Google first to search. But when you search on Google, there are some credibility concerns. Since anyone can publish information on the internet, results from a Google search may include incorrect information from unreliable sources, or maybe even from unqualified authors. Also, when we search for information on Google, it may be written in a way to convince us to buy a certain product. So those cause some credibility concerns. But when we use research databases, we don't have to worry about that. These databases provide information that's reliable and accurate. So it's written by a qualified author. It's been double-checked by someone else. And this means that research databases give us high-quality information that we can trust, or it's credible. This is the type of information we need to find evidence to support our claim. To get started looking for information about your topic, you'll need to follow these steps. First, you'll find the Power of Words database link either on your teacher's Google Classroom or on our junior high library website under class resources. Once you're on this page, it should look like this. You'll see 4 different research databases that you can use for this project. Each one is a little different in the way it looks, but they're all similar in the way they work. So I'm going to go to Explora. And because these databases are password protected, you're going to need our username and our password so that you can log in. Once I do this, and I am ready to start searching for different information. So I have some topics I can browse through. I have a search bar where I can type in what I want the database to search for. And so what I'd like us to do is let's all just take a minute and get logged into Explora, and then we'll continue. So you're going to follow these steps. Go to the Power of Words databases link, find the one marked Explora, and use our username 6101SEPJH and our password HAEA11. Once we get everybody to that page, we'll move on. So before we start to use this database, there are a few things to know that will help you get the best results out of your searching. The first thing to remember is that databases only know how to look for an exact match to what's typed in. This is really different from searching in Google when we might use a lot of words, a whole sentence, or maybe a question to describe what we want to find. Doing this in a database just won't work. That's because databases only use keywords or main idea words as search terms. A keyword a lot of times is just the main idea from your topic. For example, if my topic is cyberbullying, that will be one of the words that I try. I may need to use 2 or 3 words in combination to get the information that I need. And since a database looks for exact matches to what we type in, we have to be really careful about spelling. Wrong spelling, even just one letter off in our search, will limit what we get for results. So I also need to think about the type of information I want to read. Most databases will let me select an option called full text, which means I can access the entire article online. That's what I want. If I don't click full text, I might only get a title, or I might just get a short summary, and that's not going to be enough to give me any evidence. So we're going to look for something called full text. The other thing I need to think about is what the reading level is of the results I get. It's not going to help if I find articles that talk about my topic, but they're written at a reading level that's kind of beyond what I can understand. So we need to, as we're searching, we're using keywords, maybe 2 or 3 keywords together. We're searching for full text articles, and we're searching for them at the appropriate reading level. So one thing that we need to talk a little bit about before we actually practice searching is how do we take a topic and narrow it down to just a few keywords? Because we're kind of new to using databases, we're used to using Google where we can use a lot of different words. Focusing our topic and thinking of appropriate keywords can be kind of challenging. So this chart shows a good way to think about coming up with your keywords. First, you're going to start with your topic. Then think about, what do I actually want to know? Which part of this topic is important? So usually there's lots of different sections to a topic. Which part is important? Some questions that help narrow this down are to think about who's being affected by this, what has happened around this topic, maybe what's happened now. Think about why this matters, why it's important. And then finally, think about other words that mean something similar. So what are some synonyms to our topic? There may be some words that are used more than others when people talk about and write about this issue. So thinking of synonyms really helps prepare for this. So let's take a look at this process with my example. So I'm going to go through each step of this chart and kind of talk about what actually I would do for each step. So my topic in my example is cyberbullying. That's a pretty broad topic. There's a lot that can actually go into it. So to narrow it down, I want to think about, what is it that I really want to know about cyberbullying? And what I really want to know is how cyberbullying affects teenagers. I'm the mom of 2 teenagers. I'm the stepmom of 3 teenagers. I work with teenagers, so I want to know how this affects teens. And then who all is being affected by this, by cyberbullying. So there are teens who are victims. There are teens who are bullies. There are families of victims and families of bullies, and there are schools who are all being affected by this. So then I also want to know what is happening with this issue, or what has happened. And so what I know is that teens are bullied online. They're bullied through social media. This takes place at home and at school, leaving some teens extremely stressed. Some even harm themselves in some way. And I want to know why this issue is important. So cyberbullying is important because it can be dangerous. It can impact students and families, friendships. It can impact schools. And then I want to think about, what are some other important words or synonyms? So what is another way to say cyberbullying? So I might use the word online bullying. I might use the word harassment. Instead of teenagers, I might use children. I might use students. I might need to use social media because that's an important word as well. Once all of these ideas are written down, now I have possible keywords that I might choose to use. So I'm pretty sure if I just use the word cyberbullying, that might be too broad and bring me back too much information. So I might try combinations like cyberbullying and teens or cyberbullying and children. Where it happens in schools. So here's a whole list of things that I can use. And now there's some examples that I could try in a search. So now you're going to go ahead and use this same process to brainstorm keywords for your topic. Yours won't be about cyberbullying. It will be whatever it is that you've chosen. So you're going to follow those same steps. Your teacher will tell you which document they want to use, but you're going to follow the same steps I just modeled. So you'll write down what your topic is, think about what you want to know or what you hope to claim, who's being affected, what's happening, why it's important, and what are some other words that could be important. So you're going to use all of that to create your own list of keywords. Okay, so now you should have finished your practice with coming up with your list of keywords. Remember, I'm still kind of talking about cyberbullying. That's sort of our example for today. So you're not going to need your keywords list for right now, but go back to the tab where we logged into the database Explorer. And if you need to remember how to get there, here are your instructions. We're going to go to the Power of Words database link. We're going to log in and we're going to try doing some searching together in this database. So I'm going to demonstrate, but I'm going to want you to do this as well. So remember, when we're searching in databases, we don't use questions, just those main words or keywords. And my topic is cyberbullying. So I'm going to start with that word. Would you go ahead and type that in as well? And for right now, we're just going to use one word. So I enter the word cyberbullying and I click on search. And now Explorer is looking for everything with that word in it. Okay. So one thing I want to check over here on the left is I want to check that we're using full text. That's going to give me all articles, not just a title or not just a summary. It should be plenty of evidence in these articles for me to use once I find the type of things I'm looking for. And so what I notice is when I see the word cyberbullying and I search with that, I got 4,500 results. You can see that right here. That's a lot of information. So that's way too much. And as I skim through these, I noticed that while some of them might talk about teens, remember I really wanted to focus in on how cyberbullying affects teens. Some of these don't even talk about teens at all. So I'm not exactly finding what I need. So I'm going to add a second keyword because even though we're not going to use a whole bunch of words or use a sentence, we can use a couple different keywords at a time, make a combination. You can see I'm going to add the word and teens. So would you go ahead and do that as well? Type in and teens. And what you'll notice is that really does affect my results a lot. So I had 4,500 before and now I have less than 700. So I'm getting on the right track. I could add in more keywords if I thought, but each word I add is going to reduce the number of results I get. So what I'm going to do right now is kind of skim through these and see if I'm on the right track. And what I notice is they're talking about cyberbullying and high-tech crimes involving teens. They're talking about cyberbullying and mental health problems in teens. That's important. Cyberbullying and teens, what librarians can do to help. That might be kind of interesting to me because that's the kind of information that I might want. So we're going to look at one of these because not only do we want this information, we want to be able, there we go. When I click this open, now I've got some information that I can read and then hopefully that I can use. So the next thing that I kind of need to do when I find information that I think I might want to use, I'm going to look for a way to save that. So you guys have a Google Doc or a document that you've been working on for this project where you're going to save links to your articles. And so I want to do that. So I'm going to use something called a permanent link. And I'm going to Control C to copy it, Control V to paste it into my Google Doc. And the reason I want to do this is keeping links to all the articles I might want to use saves me from having to search again. So I'm going to go back to this article. Here's that article I found that I thought I might want to use. And if I use this link at the top right up here, that only works each time I log in. So that's not the one I want to use. I want to come over here to the right, and there's this thing called a permalink. So on your screen, would you look at this link over here? And you can see when I click on that, suddenly here's a web link right here. This one is the one that I want to save. So again, I'm going to Control C to copy it. And I'm going to come into whatever your document is where you're saving that. You're going to post it there. Now, this link doesn't tell me a lot. You might want to jot down some notes to yourself what this is about. Okay, but this is the important thing. As you're searching and as you're finding things you may want to use, make sure you save it if you think you might want to come back to it. And we're going to do that using the permalink. There's one database that doesn't work that way. You'll kind of discover that on your own, but most of the time you're going to need this permanent link. All right, so now that we've sort of worked on this together, we've practiced this a little bit, you're going to get a chance to practice using my example just on your own. So you're going to follow the same process that we just learned and tried together, but we're going to use a different database this time. So I want you to go back to our database link, log into the one called SIRS. You'll need your username and password, and then practice searching for articles that talk about cyberbullying and teens. Try both of those words together. When you find something that you think is good, practice copying and pasting the link. And then you may want to write a little bit about how you found it. Okay, your teacher will give you a little bit more instruction on what they want to see from you, but we'll go ahead and pause the video right now to give you time to work on this. All right, so today we learned that we need relevant information from credible sources to find evidence to support our claim. We practiced using research databases to find this information. So here are the really important steps that we did. We practiced this all together when you use research databases. So we'll start at our database link, either from your teacher's Google Classroom or from the library page. We brainstorm a list of keywords to use for your searching. You might also find some words you come up with as you look through articles. You might learn a few new words that you want to add to your list. And then when we're in the database, we're going to search with different combinations of keywords. For me, the one that worked well was cyberbullying and teens. Yours will depend on your topic. We also want to be really careful with our spelling, because if we are wrong on our spelling, we're going to miss out on articles we could use. We need to make sure we're getting full text information so that we don't just get titles of articles or summaries. We want the entire article. And then we need to, as we read, think about if the article makes sense to us. That is our reading level. And then once you've done that search, make sure you save articles you think you can use. Even if you maybe end up not using it, it's better to probably save it than to have to go back and try to find it again. You may need that thing called the permalink. EBSCO, Explora, and Gale actually use all of those. The other database, SIRS, does not. So good luck as you're looking for your information, and keep using your keywords to get the best information out of your databases.